Folks, just a little video on Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This baby came in yesterday. Pretty stoked about it. I got it all tabbed up as I do with my rules. And I read quite a bit of it so far. As you can see with the bookmarks in there. But yeah, I got this yesterday. 640 pages of gaming goodness. I had this pre-ordered, I think, since May. And I'm still waiting on some more stuff. The condition cards, the screen, Plaguestone Adventure, another copy of the rule book for my nephew, and the bestiary, of course, got to have that. Still waiting on that to come from Paizo Direct. I got this from Miniatures Market. They were a little bit quicker on the ball to get this to me, so yeah. So I do have it, so we'll flip through this in a minute. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of D&D 3rd Edition. Back in the day, this was my role-playing game, and this, I think, is the best version of D&D I've ever played, and I still have some fond memories of this. And I got out of the hobby right around 2003, I think, right when 3.5 was going to be released, as the D&D was known at that point. And I missed that, so I never got into 3.5. In fact, I didn't get into anything after that. So 4th edition D&D came out eventually, never got into that. When I got back in the hobby, miniatures and wargaming and such, I started thinking about role-playing again. And being able to play online really opened up my potential for meeting new people and playing this hobby and doing cooperative storytelling. And I looked at different things. I got D&D 5th edition, which I enjoy. But Pathfinder, I never really looked at. All I heard about it was, oh, that's so crunchy and it's Mathfinder and all that stuff. But I did actually get it. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that this was basically D&D, the D20 system, 3.5. This, in fact, was deemed 3.75 of D&D, if you can imagine. So in other words, it's D&D 3rd edition. In fact, when I looked through some of the rules in here, quite a bit of it is actually copied verbatim, word for word, from the 3rd edition rule book. So, yeah, it is, and I was excited about that. That was fantastic. You mean I can play D&D 3rd edition, my favorite version, with a new updated version known as Pathfinder? Sure, I'm in. So I jumped in on that. Unfortunately, I was only into this for maybe 2 years, 3 years. Played it. When I had time, I didn't really have enough time to get into it. But boy, did I love this. Fantastic. As far as fantasy role-playing games is concerned. It brought back a lot of memories for me. And all of a sudden, they introduced 2nd edition. And, I didn't know what to do at that point. I got all worried. But I got the playtest rulebook, of course. Again, tab that all up as well. And this was all right. I read it, didn't play it. I mean, it's a difficult read, to say the least. It's not organized very well. But it gave some idea of what to expect from the final 2nd edition release, which is right there. Like I said, 640 pages of goodness. And I read quite a bit of it. And all I could say is I am stoked. This is a fantastic version of Pathfinder. It reorganizes stuff. It's the same Pathfinder, but it's reorganized in a way that's easier to learn and faster to play, I think. The way they've organized feats, expanded upon them. Combat is totally... Actually, you know what? A lot of the rules aren't even different. They're just reworded and reorganized. A lot of it is that. So you're still getting 1st edition in here. There is some rules changes, like the way combats work. 3 actions per turn and so on and so forth. But I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm still reading this. Got an extra copy for my nephew. He's a big fan of D&D. I'm trying to get him back into playing. And we've played a few games of 5th edition. Having a good time. Thinking about bringing some of his friends in. And I want to bring him... I got him a copy of this rule book as well. I'm going to get to him. We'll see if we can roll up some characters, play some games, and see what happens. Fantastic artwork. Wayne Reynolds, as usual. He did a lot of the work in D&D 3rd edition as well. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Very excited to get this on the table and play. And I'll be doing this online as well. I'll be running games through Fantasy Grounds, through FCC, which is, well, online video chatting. I'll be doing that as well for you guys. I'm recording this stuff. Lots of new spells. Everything you need as a player is in this book. And I like some of the new additions, too. Like they have stuff on the setting. Galarian. They're calling it the Age of Lost Omens, but it's basically Galarian. This is new to the rulebook. I like how they've integrated, not overwhelmingly, but they've integrated just enough of the setting, Galarian, Pathfinder's default setting, into the rulebook. I prefer that. I actually like that. It kind of gives context to your characters and some idea of really what certain classes and ancestries are. And so I like this. It gives you a start if you're a GM as well. And various factions that are in Galarian. The deities, of course, very useful. And there's actually rules information in here that you can use right away if you're a cleric or a paladin, or a champion, as they're now called. A paladin is a lawful good champion. So there's 3 different varieties. Well, there's different varieties of champion based on their alignment. And the lawful good one is known as a paladin. I think that's genius. Great stuff. I've been following this game's development for the past year, as a lot of Pathfinder players have been. And I've been excited about a lot of things. And I won't go into it in this video. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this game. I'll make it a separate video, perhaps. Just give you a little flip through here. It's a fantastic game, my friends. If you're considering doing some fantasy role-playing, I recommend Pathfinder 2nd edition. There's other games out there, but this thing is not too crunchy and not simple. Too simple, rather. And I've played D&D 5e. That's a great game, but I think it's a little bit... I got a little bit bored of it, actually, to be honest with you. It's fun. It's good for storytelling. It's easy to run. And at the drop of a hat, I can run a game without very little preparation. I'm hoping to do likewise with this, but we have a lot more options for character design and development, a lot more options for tactical combats, and a little bit more crunch to it without becoming overwhelming. And I think the way it handles the detail in this game by consolidating rules into simple systems, like D&D does, it does this a very similar method to that, so that all the rules basically follow a single concept in a rule mechanic, like D20, your proficiency, your ability mod, and on top of that, any other modifiers. I think it organizes all the die rolls into that mechanic, so it's easy to understand how any rule in this game works. So that's good, but I'm not going to go into detail about that. And here's some printer-friendly character sheets. The original ones are actually red. It seems to be the theme with 2nd edition. These black sections are actually red, so it can be kind of draining on your printer. So they do have up available free a printer-friendly version, which is black and white. And there's 4 sides to these. And sheets are pretty good. Not bad. I don't think there's much room. I think they increased the font here. A little too big, so there's less room. Like there's only 2 spaces here for lures, and there's plenty of lures you can have on here. So you'd be using scratch paper for this. And the same can be said about weapon proficiencies. Your proficiency in simple weapons, martial weapons, other, and it has a space here to describe what it is, and an other. Well, there's not enough room here because some ancestries might have multiple weapons here to put under other, and this only has room for 2, and you can end up having 4. So where are you going to put that? Going to use some scratch paper. So there is that. So on and so forth. So I hope to get some games up and running by September. Get back into role-playing. It's been so long. And then once I get my fix and I'm back into role-playing again, we'll probably see some Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Starting with the starter box. I'll be doing some of that online for you guys. As well as, hopefully, I'm not sure about this one, maybe by the end of the year, some Starfinder. I want to get the beginner box. I have all the rules and stuff for that game and a bunch of extras, but finding people to play is kind of challenging. So I'm thinking, you know what, this is a pretty crunchy game, along the lines of Pathfinder, as you'd expect, but I'm going to get the starter box, the starter set, and use that as an introduction, because I've been looking at it. It's not expensive, and it looks like a really great product to introduce people to the game. Very simple. So that's what's going on with role-playing, folks. Specifically, Pathfinder. If you guys want to see a more detailed review of this or something, let me know. I don't really have any plans for it. I might do a more detailed look at it or some discussions on some of the rules. But right now, I just wanted to show this to you. I'm very excited. I'm going to get the content for my role-playing games coming up soon on the channel. You'll see a little bit more content for that coming up soon. And this is the reason why. Oh, that's something new. You can play goblins now as an ancestry. And a new class, of course, is the alchemist. And there he is. That's the iconic. I can't remember his name. Fumbus? I think that's the iconic Fumbus. He's a goblin alchemist. Pretty cool. Okay, folks, just wanted to show this off. I'll post another video up later today, an update on my hobby. Stay tuned, folks. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.